For this discussion, we are joined by Gautam Mukherjee, senior journalist, and Surinder Lalai, international affairs expert from New Delhi. Thank you very much for joining us. Gautam Mukherjee, what are the potential implications of President Trump's proposed reciprocal tariffs on international trade dynamics? Is this going to start a trade war, worldwide trade war?
Well, so far, judging by what has happened in Canada and Mexico, and indeed, though it's not tariffs, but threats in Panama, they've all yielded good results for the United States. Things that were being sat upon and not acted upon have been acted upon with alacrity by Mexico and Canada and Panama. So this as a negotiating tactic to first of all impose tariffs and then see what the other side comes up with by way of concessions is working really well and quickly for America. For Europe to talk of reciprocal tariffs is really cutting off your nose to spite your face, because their economies are already in great trouble. They're either growing at around 1% or are in minus. And can they really afford a trade war with the United States? As far as China goes, China is also quickly coming to the table to negotiate concessions on both sides. But quite a lot on the Chinese side, because the balance of power, the balance of the deficit is very much in China's favor. As far as India is concerned, we have only a 40 billion gap in the trade deficit in favor of India. And there are multiple ways we can take care of it. One is to buy more defense equipment. We already want some Globe Masters, 5 numbers more, because the 3 that we do have proved most useful. We want to get all the GE engines as soon as possible that have been sat upon by the Biden administration, both for the Mark 1 and for the Mark 2. Now, if Trump thinks those are old negotiations, we have other military equipment to buy from America, as well as to perhaps manufacture in India in joint venture with the Americans. There is also AI, in which we are very keen on collaborating with American firms, just as we have with France. And the semiconductor business is already being seeded quite well, and in 10 years will reap rich dividends for India as well as America.
Gautam Mukherjee, I wanted to bring Surinder Lalai into this. We're talking about Trump and Modi literally meeting tonight. In what ways could the imposition of these reciprocal tariffs affect the global supply chain, especially for developing countries like India and Thailand?
Thank you, Thomas. Thomas, sometimes I feel that the entire world should be allowed to vote for the American elections, and what better case study and case in point than what's going on. I mean, talk about, disturbing the status quo. I think Donald Trump has been stirring up the hornet's nest. And now to your question, I think the basis for the meeting tonight was being already made, because fortunately our Prime Minister is a career politician who rose up from the grassroots, and our Foreign Minister is a career diplomat. So they have already made the right noises before meeting him. We're cutting down our taxes, we're cutting down on the duties and stuff, anything which affects America. So the right noises have been made. We were quiet enough even to, not by choice have, those 200 people being flown back to India, chained and shackled. So India has been making the right noise, and India understands that Donald Trump is still pretty much in election mode. He's a pretty mercurial individual. And as of now, he still is in the pre-election agenda, because if you hear any of his press conferences until the one this morning, he's still blaming, the Biden administration and how this would not have happened and that would not have happened. But fortunately, the bases have been made, and the Indian politicians are smart enough to first let him play out and then keep their point. Because end of the day, please understand, America needs India to, especially in this part of the world, and to counter China. And as Gautam rightly said, that there could be a trade war. So America needs India in this part, in the Indo-Pacific. So we're going to let Donald Trump play out. And then, in a true politically correct, astute manner, Mr. Modi and our foreign minister are going to play their card. Maybe all of it might not be in public glare or media, but trust me, there will be positive dividends for Indians.
Gautam Mukherjee, what strategies should these countries mitigate to prevent these economic disruptions, and also while maintaining good trade relations with the United States?
Well, I think as far as the Europeans go, and much of South America, in fact, most of the world, they have taken American benevolence for granted and have not reciprocated. This is the major plank of Trump's annoyance, and he is now determined to extract his pound of flesh. For example, he said to Ukraine that you have to hand over $500 billion worth of minerals, which are in your country, in your soil, as reparations for all the money that we have given you. Now, this is the tone, and they better get used to it. As far as India is concerned, just as Lali said, we are on board. We know this person. We've worked with him before, and we have already reduced some taxes, tariffs, and we are quite willing, I'm sure, to reduce more. There are really a handful of items on which there is some contention. We, for example, import huge amounts of almonds and pistachios from the United States. We could reduce, tariffs on them further. The Harley Davidson, the famous Harley Davidson, we could reduce a lot of taxes, but Harley Davidson will have to come in here and compete with the Kawasaki's of the world. It had better do so, because Harley Davidson's very iconic, but not really the most up-to-date motorbike that you can think of nowadays. So India doesn't have much of a problem, and it is flexible in terms of its policy and is determined to keep Trump on its good side.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Unfortunately, we have run out of time. Thank you, Gautam Mukherjee and Surinder Lali, for joining us.